I'm up way too early. Didn't sleep too well last night. Got up way too early. I'm once again indoctrinated with this Charlie Kirk bullshit. Like the weeks before his assassination. Who knows what's going on here, really. I couldn't block with enough fervor the proselytizing, the damn pushes of his ridiculous right-wing ideology. His turning point campaign. It took in $80 million, bust in January 6 writers. And now gleefully, I have to sit and watch the Jezebel Circe, Mother Cersei. Need to look this up. A lot of people who aren't Jordan Maxwell or Russell Pine enthusiasts. By the way, I tried to do a little deep dive on Russell Pine. That's his real name. And couldn't actually take it back very far. Florida. And I believe his mother's name was Ann Anderson, her maiden name. But Jordan Maxwell talked about this, about Mother Cersei, the relationship to Kirk, which is Captain Kirk. And then right away, I saw the correlation, the tie-in with Jean Felix Picard and his brother, Augusta Anton, I think it's Anton Augusta Picard, spelled with two C's. And they, developed high-altitude ballooning. And once there was even a statement that they could take people to Mars for $250,000. So, I mean, that's a pretty fucking huge claim, right? The thing that I've been watching lately with this whole Turning Point USA, I guess it's this Erica Kirk. So, I mean, she's taken on the persona of the widow. Mother Cersei is heavily depicted almost like this Hansel and Gretel story, where the origins of church come from. So you literally have somebody who can't pretend, someone who's the true profane, who can't pretend that she doesn't know a lot of things that she's not supposed to know. Like the fact that Charlie Kirk was actually immortalized by this so-called right-wing faction as a foot soldier. In all his short-sighted hubris, he was kind of like a golem that could be called about and manifest into the same general entity or force in action. I didn't think anything of. I hated everything he had to say. I hated his dorky face. And I've said this before. He, supposedly was assassinated, or however you want to say. I mean, is anything serious? Like, is there any of the world that was left before when you use the term political assassination? It's just a lot of influencers, and the influence goes on beyond the wall of the projected codified field that we assume as computational systems. And Mother Cersei represents, Kirk Church represents the re-embodiment of a willful existence as a democratized, disparate aspect of the self that hails back to the centralized witch or literature, a central hub, a central witch. And they stand back just in awe that, wow, this is working way too well. So what they have is they don't have personal agency and they don't want it, okay? What these witches are after is the modern conveniences. They lost themselves long ago. Now, whether that was by the men who mishandled them at the time, that story is really thrown around, right? And the more we look back, the more we realize very little has changed. But an ignorant, pillaging, raping, violent tendency is undeniable. And so you have these factions where you have these druids, masons. You could say today they're all porch masons, as they call them. But when you look at the operations with Scientology, Mormonism, Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness, you name it, there are so many different factions. At the central core of belief system, when you talk about an idea or believing in a lie and being able to acquire the things, creature comforts, right? The creature comforts were enough for them. So many people are faced with this perplexity of the false self and are vexed by it, like they're vexed by a woman supposing truth to be a woman. I've talked about this to length and what this means, and it's just it's quite concerning. It's a very big deal because the idea of a woman putting on the makeup, wearing specific clothes, using specific neurolinguistic programming mechanisms of inciting purposeful action, putting on a glowy red, cheerful, gleeful smile, even though your husband, not even 2 weeks ago, was, at the times of her interviews, Erika Kirk with this Turning Point USA. And these people, it's been reminded, are quite wealthy. I mean, they're taking these trips. She's all booked up for Turning Point USA, all funded. She was given millions of dollars, just by Tucker Carlson, right? And whatever Tucker Carlson thinks he's really doing, right? But all these people are doing this in a time when there's this revelation about these UAPs or UFOs, which are really, if you look at the Jason Rizzo-Giorgiani interview on, what was it, American Alchemy, or what's Jesse Michael, Peter Thiel's little butt puppet, what's his station, his channel, or something cosmic or something like that. But I just watched this interview, and I'll be watching more of it, and with Jason Rizzo-Giorgiani. But you have this really brilliant person who is really a self-proclaimed Satanist, and he's trying to give you the directive through Prometheus and Satanas, which is an understood revelation about witches, and the fact that this Ouroboros, or samsara, as it were, is something, or as it is that this return back to this goddess is the sort of capitulation that we have to go through in order to bring about life, right? So people kind of think about, let's think rationally, right? But without purity, we don't have anything. We don't exist. Not really. We're only held in a quasi existence. Nothing really has meaning. And this sort of transcendental notion of this flitting, this sort of capricious life that shouldn't be taken all too serious. And if you know this and become one of the henchmen and start to operationally work for it, you can too be included in the lottery, where you can be brought back out like an Illuminati card. Until that time, it's akin to taking the blue pill in the Matrix, where you can live in this idea of the self and this lavishness of the self and this opulence of the self. And that is where these witches live. You know, they live in this paracosm, this sort of paramnesia, but it happens to be shared because these women, they want the same thing. And then these druids, these men, and those under the witches, because this works as a very militaristic tier system, a pecking order. It's very militarized. In fact, it's what modern military comes from. Titles, names, earned valor, all this stuff is not the way the pure ontology, if it even exists anymore, because we get back into what purity is and the monad, and the fact that, you know, Edward Kelly and John Dee and Bruno, these types of people, Burkhard Heim, these types of people couldn't, Bohm, right? These types of people couldn't hack into this sort of Konrad Zuse, Alan Turing, might I say Jacobo Grinberg type computational system or Turing machine, right? So, like I said, there's a supplication and a weaning off, but you have this Jezebel spirit, okay? If you want to get biblical about it, and you know, the blonde hair and the heavy mascara and the light sort of blue off-colored eyes, the very light eyes, and this self opulence and just this gleeful growth hormone high of being poofed up on oneself. That is what Erica Kirk represents, but as an integral aspect of this witches militaristic wing of this witches army, where, you know, these are the Luciferian, or really, what is it, Lucifina, right? These are the daughters are the sons of this Luciferian archetype, right? So it is a spiritual war. It is a holy war. And man, you know, the buzzing in my head, the major attacks. I can only do what I can do. And, you know, I'm surprised I'm even alive. And when I look at this whole thing, it's just so convoluted and messed up, you know? What can I say?